Our house was near the sea, and maybe this is the main reason behind writing this novel.
Taleb, thanks so much for joining us for Spiracle Murmurations, the author of The Mariner, Spiracle edition for December, our new audiobook. I'll let you introduce yourself.
Thank you for having me. I'm a Kuwaiti short story and novelist. I'm in love with writing since I was 18. Nowadays, I have more than 8 novels and 10 short story collection.
So tell me a little bit about your inspiration behind The Mariner.
The main inspiration was I read the book of Alan Villiers, son of Sindbad. This is really the main inspiration behind this, because Alan Villiers took my hand, took me, my eyes, took my heart to a Kuwaiti captain called Ali Nasser al-Najdi. And whenever I finish this book, I go looking for who is Ali Nasser al-Najdi. He is one of the most famous Kuwaiti captains. And maybe you know or not that Kuwait, one of the Gulf country, before 1946, depend upon the sea in everything. In summer, they go diving for pearl, and in winter, they go in a kind of trip from Kuwait to Iraq through the Gulf, then to India or to Africa. So the sea is the essential part of Kuwaiti life before petrol. And because our house was near the sea, I'm in a good relation with the sea, but in the daylight. Even I'm go through swimming or fishing, but in the night, I'm so afraid of the sea because it is dark and nothing except dark. When I heard about the accident with Najdi in the last day of his life, I was shocked. This happened in 1979.
I can be honest, that's before my time. I'm 25, so I'm so interested in that history that I know nothing about. I'm sure as a Kuwaiti, you're much more close to it. But for any listeners who either might not have been around for it or are sort of outside that area, tell me, the captain's death was a huge event in Kuwait.
Yes, it was, because he is one of the most famous Kuwaiti captains. And by a storm, he was with 3 of his friends, and they found only one of them. The second, they find his body, and Najdi was missing until now. Nobody knows. So he is still in the sea. And because of this, I put the end of the novel as opened, because it is opened. Still Kuwaiti people waiting for Najdi. Nobody knows where he is. And when you talk about in Kuwait with anybody about this man, he said, "Oh, poor man, he is drawn near his chalet." I am teaching creative writing in Kuwait, and I keep telling my student, you cannot write novel without doing your homework. So I do my research. I met his family, his sons, and his grandson, Mr. Nasser al-Najdi, was very close to him. So we sit to each other around 8 times, every time for 4 hours, 5 hours, and he keep talk to me about his grandpa. And I do all this in order to be very close to Nasser al-Najdi, to my main character.
You're saying as part of your research, you went on a bit of a journey, as well as talking to your family, you then set out to see
because the most important part of the novel is in the sea, when the storm is coming to this man. And this happened in the night. So I want to be very close to the sea in the night. I'm afraid to do that. So I talked to one of my friends. I go by his yacht. He have a very nice yacht. I go with him and I request him, please don't talk to me anything. Let me with the sea, just to be very close to the sea in the night where it's only darkens. Of course, I add rain and storm.
You were talking about this strong relationship, specifically between yourself and the sea, but also Kuwaitis and the sea. And yet, from my own impression, Kuwait has a more of a reputation for oil. Is there still that bond between Kuwait and the sea?
Of course, the Kuwaitis still have a relationship with the sea, but not as before. entertainment. They have a chalet. They go to chalet, swimming or fishing, and no more than that. But the bond between Kuwaiti and the sea was more stronger when there is nothing except the sea. Now there is a petrol. So petrol is covered the sea completely. Still, there is good relation between Kuwaiti and the sea for fishing, not diving for bear. And nobody goes through this trip from Kuwait to India or from Kuwait to Africa. Alan Fuller in 1939 want to discover how these Arab people are sailing in the boat without engine, only the sail.
So you mentioned Alan Villiers. Obviously, you've talked about Al-Najji and the real historical figure that you based that character on, but Alan Villiers is another real person who turns up in your book.
You know, I used to write my novel in autofiction. And autofiction means the writer himself be a part of the novel. Taleb, we seen Taleb as a character. Taleb Alrefai, my real name, my real experience as a character in the novel. Here, when I wrote about Najdi, I hesitate to be with him. So I tell myself, Talib, please write about Najdi only. No need to be a hero there.
Who is the closest to you?
Alan Fuller is a very close there. Alan Najdi is closer to my heart. But for me, Alan Fuller is the one who pointed to Ali Najdi. Without Alan Fuller, I can't imagine what Najdi do in the sea.
You have mentioned that The Mariner has been translated into many different languages. Of course, this is a fantastic English translation that we've made the audiobook for.
Najdi nowadays is being translated to French, to Italy, to Spanish, to Turkish, to China. Let me be very honest with you. There is a kind of, sometime you wrote a book and you think it will be wow, and it's passed through anything. And sometime you know, I was working with another novel and I stopped for a while. I cannot be in progress. So I read Alan Fuller book, then I wrote a Najdi. So I didn't, you know, planning to write a Najdi at that time, but it comes like this. And there is around 7 languages. Of course, my feeling, I'm happy for that, because I'm happy to, especially in this novel, I express Kuwaiti heritage, maritime heritage to the reader out of Kuwait. You know, if you come to Kuwait now, as I talk, you don't see this life, the Kuwaiti relation with the sea. Now you will see, just as a Dubai or as a Qatar now for the football team, you see is there is a building, 40, 50 floor building, and there is a roads, of course, and all this. But what Najdi say, he give a part of Kuwaiti life before that. So I am happy that my novel is being reached many other readers through all the world.
It's really brilliant for, you know, me, someone who's all the way over in the UK, for me to be able to read and listen to the story about that time that's gone.
Many people say to me after they finish reading the novel, it is sad novel, is it?
I think it's a sad novel, yeah.
Yes, because that's mean the translator is able to give you the real life of the novel. It is sad.
Oh, good.
I was keen to hear the answer, to be sure that the novel is being translated in an excellent language and it take all the atmosphere of the novel, Arabic novel, to English novel or to other language.